So welcome. Thank you for all making it on and obviously recording for the guys who can't make it. And I thought it would just be really good for you guys today to just have a call on social media and really like how to do it and all of the rest of it, because you guys actually as a group, I am going to meet you, are absolutely smashing it with your social media. You really, really are. And I've said this to you guys before, like I don't think I've seen a group of coaches come in and just consistently, I say, like, do this, and you're like, okay, cool, and you just seem to all do it. And I think as a group, you're very good at kind of, you know, one person does it and the other, and that energy, you're feeding off each other's energy, which is amazing. And it's how it was for me when I was a new coach. And I can definitely testament my success to the fact that I was in one of those groups that were quite driven. And had I not been in a driven group, I probably wouldn't be where I am today. But I just wanted to kind of run through a few things. And just say, like, I know like a lot of you guys, most of you guys, all of you guys, I think, are working full time. And just remember, when I came into this, I think this can be like, people can look at me and think, well, it's okay for Izzy because she, you know, she doesn't go out to work. But when I started, I was a fitness instructor, was teaching like 10 PT clients a week, and I had Arthur at home with me basically full time. He was 18 months old. He was such a handful, and he was only in nursery 2 mornings. So when he was in nursery, I was basically doing all my classes, all my PTs. I was like racing around, picking him up, dropping him off. Guy really wasn't around at all. He was in London all the time. And I worked my business like in the pockets when he was sleeping. Like, genuinely, that's how I built it. I absolutely managed to do all of my tracker. And I want to tell you guys that I posted in my Instagram grid every single day, because Mackenzie, you've probably seen Mackenzie's page. Mackenzie's my coach, Mackenzie Huntley. She's got a beautiful Instagram. If you look at her page, it's amazing. That was something she drummed into us from day one. Like, don't you dare miss a day of posting. Like, you are losing trust if you miss a day of posting. And she kind of drummed that into me from the start, so that it quickly became a habit, right? It just didn't feel right if there wasn't something in my Instagram grid on a day. It felt really uncomfortable. And actually, to start with, I did 2 posts a day. Now that was OT. I even think Mackenzie thought that was quite OTT, but that was me. I'm a bit like that. So just make sure you do a post every day. And I know we've spoken about like scheduling out posts if you're short on time, you know, planning it on a Sunday. I can promise you, if you are, just be really conscious when you're out and about. And you guys generally are really, really good at this, but this is the way that I started doing it. Because when I started doing my Instagram, I genuinely didn't know what I was doing. But I remember the girls saying, just make sure you, like, wherever you are, even if you're out and about, you go on a walk at the weekend or there's really beautiful scenery, just get a whole crap ton of photos, right? And you'll notice that in my grid. If you look at my grid, you'll notice that sometimes there'll be an outfit, and then like a few days later they'll be the same. It's the same day, right? I don't take a new photo every day. I definitely don't. In fact, I probably take photos once a week, that probably max. So just bear that in mind. And then you've literally got this bank of photos to pull from. And if you're doing that once a week, then you're going to have this bank of photos, so it won't all look samey. And then obviously some days you can do a quick, like if you want time, quick selfie in front of the mirror, if you've got a nice outfit on or you've got great results. People love like a natural setting too. They love to just see you in your own home. So like sometimes I'll post, you know, me in front of my mirror. So just bear that in mind. It doesn't have to be like beautiful scenery. Great if you can mix in some nice scenery in between to kind of break it up. And I would just say, like, make sure it's reflective of who you are. And I think you guys, for the most part, are amazing at doing that. Make sure your photo reflects who you are. Make sure your caption does. And again, I really can't fault you guys on that. I think you're very natural at writing that stuff. I would just say that. And then with the posting strategy, just make sure that a couple of times a week you do something called a power post, okay? And a power post is like really what it says, right? So it's like, I started this journey and and I didn't expect anything, and now, like, you'll see me write power posts. Like, I write power posts quite a lot, and like now I'm here, and obviously it doesn't have to be the same as me. You're not in the same place as me on your journey, and no one wants you to lie. But really, like, I think if you can, I was talking to Brittany about this a bit earlier on, like, just be honest about how much you're loving this experience. Don't worry about what people think. Just be yourself and unashamedly just share it. And I think the quicker you can just rip that band-aid off and go, stuff it. This might sound really over enthusiastic and it might sound too much, but seriously, guys, and this is me talking to you, like, if you don't tell people how much you freaking love it, for whatever reason it is, people are not going to really believe it. They're going to be like, okay, she's doing a workout every day. She's obviously quite enjoying it. And you guys, again, generally are amazing at speaking to the camera. You're really, really good at speaking to the camera. Do not stop doing that. And I would just call to question, just make sure you've got 3 video stories of your face a day. Like, I know you're all super busy, but I know you can all do it, because that genuinely is the most trust building point in your whole Instagram grid and your whole Instagram story situation. People want to see you talking. They want to see you talking about maybe the benefits. You want to talk about the benefits of it, like, every single time you do those. If you're just going to do 3 stories, if you do 3 stories on the benefits of it every day, people are going to be like, that's a lot. Like, this girl is really like ramming it down my throat. But if you do 3 stories every day, and I'm setting these as minimums, but I really think you have to draw the line and say, right, this is a minimum. I'm going to do 3 video stories a day. If you want to do more, great. Like, Georgia does loads and I love it. I love to see her talking. She obviously really enjoys it. She's really great at doing it. But I know that's not realistic for all of you. And I know for a lot of you, you're not there yet. You don't feel comfortable, and that's totally cool. But just let people in. And even if it's like early, like yesterday, I was like, oh, I've been really torn about what to do with Arthur, because I don't really want him exposed to the bugs, but I have to, like, just hang in the balance because I need him to be socialized, you know. So there's me just doing that. So people are getting the measure of me, right? They're getting, right, okay, so Izzy's a coach. She's also like a really caring mum who's like in a dilemma, which is obviously going to relate to my tribe, which is probably working mums who are struggling with their little one at home and they want to do the right thing. So I'm building connection. This is my son coming in. Arthur, what are you doing? Sorry about this. Sweetheart, it's bedtime. What are you doing? It's downstairs, darling. Can you go and get Daddy and then put you in bed? Sorry. You need to be in bed. It's bedtime. Okay, go, darling. I'm on a call. Go and ask Daddy. He is such a little monkey. He wants a measuring tape. Don't ask me why. That's so funny that I'm talking about him when he walks in. So just like let people in. And make sure you share, like, even if you're in a super hurry in the morning, just a couple of clips you work out. That's a non-negotiable. Like, don't forget to do that. Maybe like a motivational quote, and ideally a little bit on your like personal development and stuff. And I know I've been through this with you guys before, but just what I can tell you is that if you start sharing that stuff in your stories, you're going to be more accountable to that stuff as a coach. So kind of think about it. Like, when I became a coach, I was like, I need to do my workout, I need to do my personal development. And actually, a way that held me really accountable, and it still does today, I'm like, tick, I've done that, and I'll post it in my story. So it's like I've held myself to account and people can see what I'm doing and I'm letting them in. So just make sure you do that. And with your stories, make sure, and today is a really good time for the call, because we are literally 2 weeks to the end of the month now. So you really want to be thinking about, okay, what's my next bootcamp called? What am I going to do? What program am I going to do? Am I going to do a generic one? Like, you can look at my stories tonight. I've put up my visuals. Mine's always generic. I'm going to run a Muscle Burns Fat Group, the new MBF program that's launching on the 7th of July. But for like, that's just for the coach window. So it won't be available to customers to the end of July. So I'm definitely going to run a kind of regular boot camp through July. So really start to think about that. Again, remember, if you're just going on in your stories to talk about like, hey, if you want to join me, then you can, but you've got nothing to invite them to, it doesn't look that professional. People don't really buy it. They don't really trust what you're talking about. And also, you don't sound that confident, as I've said to you guys before. So make sure you take the time. If you don't have the time this week, I get it, but make sure like by Friday, you've got them done, right? Because that, like, as I said, like 2 weeks calling that to action. Share those results, guys. Transformation Tuesday this Tuesday, make sure you share them. And I would say for your like posting strategy at the moment, if you can share a transformation of some kind every single Tuesday, please do. And I know, like, I felt the same when I was a new coach, sharing transformations every Tuesday, I was like, that's a lot. Like, I don't like that. I don't like that in my grid. It's a lot. And like, you probably feel like that too. But what I will say is, remember that your Instagram page is also your business. And remember what your business is all about. Your business with Beachbody is about getting people results. Ultimately, that's the long and short of it. Okay. And if people can't see results that you're getting appearing, you know, on your grid when they look at your page, which is, I think there's 9 visuals, if they can't see that and you're a new coach and you're inviting them in, they might just be like, okay, cool, she's running a virtual boot camp, what's she got to show for it? Yeah. It could be like a psychological transformation. It could, like, I shared a transformation yesterday and like my weight was really no different, but it was like a massive psychological transformation for me, like my relationship with food. And obviously, like, your story won't be my story, but just make sure you do that. Make sure you, and particularly when you're like calling to action a boot camp, you want to make sure that's in your grid of 9, the grid of 9 that they go in to see. And I would just say, like, just, this is why PD, personal development, is so important, because if you're speaking your truth and you're really like tapping into what the business is doing for you, and you're being honest and you're unashamedly sharing your passion, which I genuinely believe everybody here is passionate about what you're doing. I can see it. I can see that you're loving it. I can see that you believe in it. So share it. Okay. Because if you don't share it and you just assume, well, of course everyone knows that I love it because obviously I love it. They don't. No one's got any idea. You've got to act like everyone watching your stories and looking at your Instagram posts is a monkey. Like, they just don't understand. Okay. Because genuinely they don't. Like, I had somebody today say, like, what is it you're doing? Can you just tell me what product you're using and which program you, and she was really blunt and that really annoyed me. But I was like, of course, because I'm not talking about a boot camp right now because I hadn't yet called it to action. And that's, you know, that is the way to build curiosity. And this business, in my opinion, is all about curiosity marketing. You'll see some coaches who are like, this is the Shakeology and this is the Beachbody on Demand. And I actually really hate that, because my brand is me. And I believe that the most successful coaches within this network do have their own brand, and that is reflective of their personality. So really start to think, guys, about like, what colors do I love? What colors reflect who I am? What is really me? And if somebody came into my page tomorrow and they looked at my first 9 and they went into my stories, would I want to join me? Would I want to join me? Would I know what I was doing? Would I know what it was about? And I remember doing that as a coach, probably like 3 months in, somebody did a training on it and they asked that, and I was like, damn. And I looked at my grid and I thought, no, do you know what? I really wouldn't want to join me. Like, it's all a bit messy. I don't really have a theme going on. And I'm not saying you have to have a theme, and I don't want you to get stressed about it. But remember, it's your shop front. This is your business, okay? Imagine if you opened a shop front on the high street. Do the windows look polished? Does everything look clear cut? Like, really think about that. I use the app Snapseed, which I think you guys know about, but the app Snapseed, I don't use a preset. You can use presets. They're a little bit complicated in my opinion. It depends where you live. Some of you guys in the States and Canada, you might have really similar hues in your environment all through the year, and a preset generally works quite well. So say, someone like Sam, you've got, I think, probably a pretty like typical weather, and so you've probably got pretty typical colors. Like someone that lives in Arizona, for example, they can use a preset really well because they can use that set across their photos all the time. For us in the UK, that doesn't really work because we have different seasons and the colors are always changing. But just really think about that. And your bio, the words at the top, you know, top left, if you just go and look at mine, I've had to he's going to come back again. I can just hear him. No, it's not. I don't know. Go and ask Daddy, sweetheart. So what was I saying? Just make sure that bio is reflective of who you are. So say you're Georgia, you're a teacher, like, I don't know, full-time fit teacher. You can go and find like other teachers' bios. Janine Bonhard is a really good one for you to look at, Georgia. She's, let me just tell you. Sorry, I've like specifically called out Georgia here, but so you'll see like in mine says like corporate, you know, from corporate to, I'll send it in the page. She's Fitness J9. She's actually one of Mackenzie's coaches. She is really, really good at at her grid at her Instagram. She actually did social media training the other day. And if you look at her grid, her photos are super crisp. She has got like the iPhone 10 or whatever, and it does make a difference because she's got really like color popping photos. But again, like you don't feel you have to use the same colors, right? She likes certain colors, but you'll start to get a sense of it. And I would just say, like, start to think about, like, what am I about? Like, what makes me me? What is fundamental to who I am? And what colors do I like? And again, with your posts, like, try to make 1 in 7 a bit fun. So like Sam did one the other day, and it was like her in the paddling pool, and she had like some really fun caption, and I felt it was really reflective of who she was. It was just let people into her personality a bit, which I enjoyed. Like today I did like, I just want to drink pina colada, and I did a photo of me drinking pina colada on holiday, because I don't want every single post to be super serious, right? And I don't do like fun, like little short captions that often, but I'd say like 1 in 7. You probably want to do that. You might want to do it on the weekend. And the other thing that you want to post on when you're posting in your grid is pain and pleasure points. So you'll see a lot of coaches post on there. So they'll talk about when I started, I was looking for this. I literally needed to, like, I was really like my post yesterday, like I really hated my body. I was starving myself. I didn't eat properly. And it makes me really sad to look back at that now, because now I've never eaten better. I've never had so much energy, and I've never been more confident. And I want that for other people. So like a then and now post is unbelievably powerful, because what that's doing is it's going to connect with that person who's where you were, and then they're going to read where you are now, and they're going to go, damn, I need that in my life. Okay, so a then and now post, I'd say 1 in 7 is super powerful. And if you can do it on a transformation, great. That's really, really powerful. And just really, like, even if you like get someone else in the group, or you can just message me and say, Izzy, can you do an audit on my grid, on my posts? You'll see also that I have those little highlights. I haven't updated them for ages, I'll be honest, but they are like reflective of my branding. So like I even went on to Google, I Googled how to do highlights and make them like super pretty. I think actually there's an app that I used to use where you could download like highlights already done, like the circles, so that it would just put them in for you. But definitely look at that. And just make sure that you show up every day. Like the more that you can show up, even on the days that are hard, that's where you really build the trust. Because if you're having a really hard day and you just go, damn, I don't want to post, I'm just going to shut this off, you're losing people's trust. Okay, people are watching you, and they want to see what you're doing, and they want to see your good and your bad days. Like, you know, it was my mum's death anniversary last week, and I just let people know. I didn't share much about it, but I didn't disappear off social media for the whole day. You know, it doesn't mean that I didn't do much of my business, fine, but I did show up on my social media that day, because I think sharing your vulnerability, Brene Brown has written a book called The Power of Vulnerability, guys, by the way, and it's amazing. I've got it in Audible. She was a TED Talk speaker, and she talks about how unless we're vulnerable in society, we can't build connection with people, because people don't think we're real. And actually, vulnerability isn't weakness. Vulnerability is just part of human nature. And if you can let people in on your vulnerabilities, that's where you're really, really going to build trust with people, as you're inviting your cold market as well. Because right now, you guys are at a place where you're probably starting to get through your warm market, your friends and family. And you're going to start to reach a point where your next people are going to be your cold market. Yeah. So the people that you are, posting to, following you back. And that's why, you know, completing your business activity tracker and doing that stuff on social media every day, like building connections, following maybe 50 people a day, 30 to 50 people a day, commenting, that's so fundamental, because you're building your pipeline and your reach outs. Okay. But if you go to the extent of being all on one day, and then you hit the next day and you're like, oh, I just run out of time, I can be perfectly honest and say you're just not going to build trust with people, because they see you one day and they don't see the next. It's like my doors were open on Friday and now they're closed on Saturday. So just I'm not saying you need to do 50 stories a day. I'm just saying make sure you have 10 stories up a day and make sure that you post every day. And just give your posts a bit of thought. Like, if you need to plan them ahead, go for it. I love to plan mine like off the hoof. I just do it on how I'm feeling that day and if I've been inspired by a piece of personal development or something. But you guys generally are absolutely amazing at it. The other thing that I will say is, we're having a thunderstorm here, is just get your face in front of the camera. I don't know whether any of you guys have light rings. I've got a light ring off Amazon. It's not the cheapest. It's like about 60 quid. I'll show you where it's here. So, and that's what's lighting my face up. But you'll see some of my photos, my face is very bright and it kind of pops. It's because I have a light ring. And I can tell you that was the single best investment I made for my social media, because when I was at home and I just wanted to do a photo, they actually look really good. Most of the time you see a photo inside my house, I've taken it, I've used a timer and I've got my light ring. So it doesn't need to be like your partner taking ages following you around the house to take a good shot. The light ring is, although I did do that in the beginning and Guy just got really annoyed. And then I found that you could just get a photo timer app that I didn't know existed. So I strongly advise you to invest in a light ring, because also when you're like speaking to the camera, maybe you have a set place in the house, you do your videos, that's great to have a light ring there then. And you'll notice that your photos just really pop. Okay, so get your face in front of the camera. And again, this was like one of my biggest concerns as a new coach, was everyone's going to think I'm really vain. Like every single photo is of me and everyone's going to think I'm really vain. And sure, I bet a lot of your friends and family who don't really get how social media works will think you're vain. That's okay. Let them think it. They don't understand how social media works. So social media works by building connection, obviously. And the closest place that we can get to building connection is one with video, which is why I'm saying 3 videos a day, guys. Make sure you're speaking to camera three times a day, or 3 little 15-second videos a day. But you're going to build connection in your grid through them seeing your face. So like a bright color pop photo, 1 in 7, maybe 2 in 7 of your face, relatively close up. That again is building connection. People can see your facial expression. That's building trust. So that's why if you go onto my social media, you'll rarely see anything other than me in a post. That's because I'm just taking every opportunity to build a connection in some way by people seeing me, whether that's up close or in an environment that I enjoy. And the hashtags, I think you guys are all using the hashtags. Make sure you're using about 29, and make sure you really click with those hashtags, right? They reflect who you are. So I'll put like, sometimes I'll put like alpha female or feminist or something like that, because I am quite feminist and I'm like a real like goal getter, a bit of a ball buster. That's the type of person I am, and that's the kind of coaches that I want in my team. So I do try and pick out hashtags that reflect me and aren't really generic. With the hashtags as well, you want to pick hashtags that are between, I think it's 100,000 and 999,000. As you go through it will show you, because they're kind of where you have the opportunity to have your photo appear quite high up, and there's still quite big numbers, but they're not in the millions. If they're in the millions, when you post your photo, it will just get lost in the hashtags. The other thing that's really powerful and quite amazing at getting more people watching your stories, and actually personally I haven't done it for a long time and I really should do it, is hiding your location. So you can get your location from your story, and then all of the, like when I like at people in my stories, because we've been on like a call, I can hide your name by making it really small, which means like I think it looks a lot prettier. But if you do that with your location, say like, I don't know, Hayley, you're going out training and there's lots of other ice skaters maybe that you don't skate with, but they're probably going to look at that location. They're going to go into the stories and they're going to see you in that location with your story. And that is a really good way to get new story watchers. So just think about that. You can put hashtags in there too, which again, I haven't done for a long time. I really should. But I know when I was newer, I did it all the time, and it worked really, really well for getting more people engaging on my stories. You can use like bigger locations. So like if you're near a big city, then put that in there, or a popular, like, I don't know, landmark, something like that. So yeah, and just I think the biggest takeaway is just don't be afraid to be yourself. Don't be afraid to be yourself. The goal of your social media is actually not to get hundreds of likes, albeit that's great. The goal is actually to repel some people because they're like, that's not my person, and really attract your people. You're really trying to attract your tribe. And I think the sooner you can get into the mindset of who cares if X doesn't like this or X type of people doesn't matter, because they're actually, remember, you don't want people coming into your business or into your challenge groups who aren't your people, right? They're not going to enjoy it anyway. So what's the point in trying to please everyone? And you'll notice that with my posts, like I'm quite outspoken, and I'm very outspoken on purpose, because that's what you see is what you get. If you come into my team and you don't expect me to be outspoken, you're probably going to get a bit of a shock. So just be true to who you are. And I know it's way easier said than done, and that comes with the journey, the personal development journey, a lot of the time. It is pouring it down. I'm surprised my Wi-Fi hasn't dropped out. So that's it. I'm going to